Everybody, this is Stan Sasnak,
Yeah, how you doing?
and we want to do just a little brief interview to kind of wrap up everything that went on with the convoy. And I wanted to ask him a few questions moving forward. So, moving forward and finally ending the convoy debates, which we were ready to end those, are we going to be able to go on without daily rumor mill and speculation in the chats?
Probably not. But yeah, the convoy itself. Now, let me try to explain this. The convoy was a good thing. Okay, the convoy lost momentum, lost interest by the people, the American people, and the convoy people themselves. You know, the truck drivers that were in it, and the people back home. The reason I can say that is because the people back home weren't following as much as they had when we came across country the first time. It just kept growing and growing, bigger and bigger and bigger. There were more trucks, more cars, more RVs, everything just kept getting bigger and bigger, and the audience kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger back home, and the people on the bridges kept getting bigger and bigger as we come across. We get up there, and whatever the reason was, but it slowly started to dwindle down. And there was a certain point when we realized that there's not enough drivers that are interested in it. The biggest problem was the media. The media didn't get behind it like they did in Canada. They got behind the Canadian convoy. They didn't get behind it, but they wanted to talk about it. Okay, they didn't want to acknowledge we existed, and because of that, so many people back home didn't know about the convoy. Okay, I run into people all the time. Yeah, I was part of that convoy. Oh, the one in Canada? I'm like, no, the one here in America that just ended about a week ago. What convoy are you talking about? They didn't have a clue. They never even heard. My neighbor hadn't even known about it. Had no clue about it. Yes, of course, I didn't tell him because I didn't know about it when I left home.
Sure.
but anyway, so there were so many people who didn't even know about the convoy, and the percentage of people that did know about the convoy, a bunch of them kind of lost interest in it. Okay, and whatever the reason, there's all kind of you can speculate or second guess what happened and what went right, what went wrong with the convoy. I don't know, but I mean I got my ideas, but it was pretty obvious when we get up there. There's 250 trucks, and 3 weeks later there's only 12.
Yeah.
There's only 12 trucks and about 50 cars. Okay, so you got to do something to reinvigorate this. So the idea was to go back across to California, and I'm like, hey, that'd be a great idea. I didn't come up with that idea, but when they asked me, I'm like, yeah, that sounds good to me. Because my idea was when a convoy is convoying, they got bigger. Mm-hmm. When a convoy sits still, it's no longer a convoy. It's a bunch of trucks in a parking lot. Okay, it's no longer a convoy. It's a movement. And they should have done that. I mean, hindsight 2020, the convoy should have showed up in Hagerstown, did one lap around DC, and said, the convoy is over. Mm-hmm. Now, the movement begins. And we all stick around here, but the convoy itself is over and go on. And that's what they should have done. But who knew that at the time? So, but anyway, it was obvious the convoy had dwindled down. It wasn't dead, but it dwindled down. It was dying a slow, agonizing death. Okay, so you decided, hey, let's go to California. So we all packed up and went to California, and I realized pretty soon we went from Hagerstown down to Charlotte, and there was people on the bridges. It was raining that day, and there were people on the bridges as we come down 81. Not every bridge, but there were still people. 10 people here, 3 people there, 5 people there. It was raining. Didn't figure it'd be a whole big turnout. We get down to Charlotte. We leave Charlotte and go from Charlotte to Nashville. Nobody was on the bridges. Okay. Well, for one, the California from the first move across country was from California, and everybody knew about it for 2 months before they took off. They had all kinds of time to advertise, if you want to call it that, on Facebook and places like that, and get the word out. We one day go, hey, we need to go to California. Let's pack up and go. 2 days later, we were rolling, heading to California, and nobody really knew about it. So, but as we come across country, you'd think that would have got out on Facebook somewhere. And by the time we got to Oklahoma or Texas, or not Oklahoma, Arkansas or Texas, somewhere along in there, it would have grown. And it didn't. It just kept. We didn't gain anybody except the outlaw group, the Rat Rod. Mm-hmm. They're from the Knoxville area, And when they came down 81, they went straight to Knoxville. We went down to Charlotte and then came back through Knoxville a day later. They went home for a day basically, and we picked them back up as we went by. That was the only group that I could recall that actually was on a bridge, and then as we went by, they joined in with us. There was almost nobody on the bridges. No, and I'm sitting there thinking, this isn't going to work. This is, well, we'll just play it out because maybe by the time we get to California, things will change. I've been wrong before, so. And we got to Arkansas. I went ahead and went home from Little Rock, went home for a day or two. While I went to Dallas as the convoy went by, and then I caught back up to them. So I was home for like 2 nights. I didn't see Texas because I was sitting at home, but I heard about it. I'm watching like Joe's live stream and stuff, and there's nobody on the bridges. We come through Dallas and couldn't find a place to park in Texas. Something's wrong there. I didn't realize it at the time. I was like, well, what's wrong? Why isn't anything working here? You know, and it was about I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 days later. I was sitting there talking to a friend of mine, and he says, "Because Texas doesn't hurt." What do you mean? That whole pandemic and the masks and all that shit, that ended a 1.5 years ago for Texas. It's still going in California, it's still going in New York and places like that, in the liberal, nut states. But in Texas, life was back to normal. Oh yeah, there's a couple nurses lost their jobs, and oh yeah, there's a couple of military guys got to get a shot. Okay, but all in all, Texas was back to normal. So Texas could care less about some convoy protesting rights that they haven't really lost, at least from their perspective they haven't lost. Everything seemed to be normal. So I was really surprised with Texas, but then I also now I understand it, because I remember when we left, I said, hey, you wait till you come through Texas, it's going to blow your mind. And it did, the wrong way though. Right. So anyway, we went on out to California, and I thought, well, I told him I'd go out to California with him. I got out there. I said, as soon as we get out there and do the LA rally, okay, as soon as we get out and do the LA rally, I'm going to put up for dispatch and try to get a load out of it. That Monday morning, the rally was on Sunday. On Monday morning, I called dispatch. I'm laying in bed thinking, hey, I'm ready for a load, whatever. Call me when you get one. No, we got one right now. What? Oh, okay. So I have to get up and leave, because I had to get from there down to San Diego and pick the trailer up before they closed. So I didn't have time to waste. I had to hurry up and get down there. So anyway, I went back to work and worked for a few weeks. And I've explained that a million times on my channel, but I told everybody I was going to come back. Once you guys get done messing around in California, a week or 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, however long because I didn't want to get out there and be stuck in California for a month. Right. Which is what happened, roughly. Right. And then they went to Seattle, or Tacoma, Washington, and all that, and or Olympia, Washington. They went up there and did that. Now, one day they go, okay, we're heading back toward DC. All right, well, I'll join in with them. And that's what I did. I got a load to Phoenix. From Phoenix, I couldn't find anything else. I drove all the way to Montana on my own dollar. Got up there, joined with the convoy, came back across with them, trying to rally more support because as we're going east, maybe it'll pick up. Because the original convoy didn't really pick up until we got around to Illinois and Ohio. Yeah. That's where it really, really multiplied fast because it's a population center. You're not going to get a lot of people joining in Wyoming. Because there's just not that many people in. There's more people living in population. There's more people living in Austin, Texas, than the whole state of Wyoming. You know that? Yeah, I mean it's true. Yeah. So anyway, when they were coming back across, I think, well, maybe it'll revive. It'll reinvigorate or whatever as it comes back across. And so I joined back with them and went back across. Told them, as soon as we get to DC, though, I'm going back to work. I'm not going to go in there and walk around for another month in DC like I did before. I'm with you while we're moving. As soon as we get done moving, I'm packing up and going home. Or not going home, back to work. And so everything that I said I was going to do, everything I promised, I did everything exactly what I said I was going to do. Nothing more, nothing less. And so I left on Wednesday morning to go get loaded. And 2 days later on Friday, the whole thing implodes on itself because of reasons. And I've tried to explain those reasons, and from what I know of it, and it's almost like nobody wants to listen about it. What really happened? Nobody really wants to listen. It's like they want to believe the fairy tale versus here's what really happened. So, what do you do about it? So then, I'm kind of at my point on my channel. What I'm trying to do is Convoy. That's yesterday's news. Now, what the Convoy stood for, basically getting his government back under control. I'm all for that, but the Convoy just didn't have the muscle to do it. In other words, you're trying to defeat Napoleon's army with 12 trucks. You're just not going to do it. 12 soldiers. You're just not going to do it. Okay. Now, the Santa movement and everything, the 1776 movement, maybe it'll take off. I don't know. I don't believe it will, because it's all that is the remnants of what was left of the TPC. That's all it really is. Okay. There's a lot of good-hearted people in it. There's a lot of people that have deep feelings for it, or good intentions, I should say, whatever. But it's just not enough of them, and they don't have funding behind them. They don't have. I want to say they got a pretty clear message, I guess, but it's not resounding the way it ought to. Okay, and maybe it's if they had more advertising from the media, maybe. But if they wouldn't get behind the TPC, why would they get behind the 1776? They're not. Right. The media, they're not gonna. So they're just gonna be a little group that's gonna, but it's just gonna sit there and stagnate for however long, and eventually, well, I got better things to do, and they'll eventually disband and go home. Right. That's what I think is going to happen with it. But I've been wrong before. I thought Texas was going to come out, and it didn't. I thought moving the convoy across country would reinvigorate, and it didn't. So who knows?
Don't you think it's a good idea, though, that these groups that have branched off now are at least bringing some awareness? Even if they're a little bit, but taking it back to the states, maybe that can bring some.
Yeah, I don't know where to go with that exactly, because what needs to happen, it needs to happen under a new banner, not a leftover of the TPC. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's basically what 1776 is. It's the leftover TPC, and people are going, well, I'm not going to get involved with that because you saw what happened on Friday, weeks ago. You saw what happened on that, and I mean, I don't know how many emails I've gotten from people and text messages on the channel. I donated money to the TPC and it all fell apart. I'll never donate money ever again to anything, and the first time they tried civil rights, it didn't work. The first time they tried rebellion, it didn't work. It eventually, you do it several times, and it finally it'll stick. Okay? Right. So just because the TPC fell apart doesn't mean that our government doesn't need to be straightened
overhauled.
Out. Overhauled would be a good word, yeah. Overhauled. Basically get the bad actors out of there.
Right.
And didn't they do that about 10 years ago or 20 years ago? Called the Tea Party? Remember the Tea Party?
Yeah.
And what did the Tea Party accomplish? The Tea Party got rid of a bunch of the old actors out and got a bunch of new, fresh senators and congressmen and all that in there. That turned out to be it's human nature. They turned out just as bad as the ones they got rid of. So the funny thing is, do you know why we have a president like Joe Biden? Do you know why we have a president like that?
Why do we have a president like that?
Because decent people like him won't run because the media will tear him apart because he got divorced 20 years ago, or whatever you got shit in your closet. I got shit in my closet. Okay, I mean, decent people that could actually do good for this country, they got baggage. Everybody has baggage. Okay. If you are a politician and you don't have any baggage, I don't think I ought to trust you, because you don't have baggage because you're manipulating your image for a purpose. You're not real. Okay, so the only good politician I can think of, Jesus. He's the only one who didn't have baggage.
Yep.
You know, if you think about it.
Yep.
So he would have been a good politician because it seemed like he always had the right. He always knew the right thing to say.
Well, that's why he is king.
Yeah, exactly.
My neighbor used to tell me, you hate to see a good guy go into politics. It's straight up when he's here.
Yeah.
But a few years after he's in there,
They get caught in
The whole system.
the cogs of the
The
system.
system,
Yeah.
the system corrupts intentionally.
Yeah.
You get a really good person to go up there, and they get you. They even if you got through the media with some baggage that they didn't find out about, later on somebody's going to find out about something
Yeah.
you did in 3rd grade. You put that girl's hair in the inkwell. For you young kids, you don't know what the inkwell is. Anyway, but you did something bad when you were a little kid. Okay, you put the little girl's ponytail in the inkwell, and the media didn't find out about that senator that doesn't like you or wants you to do a certain thing, finds out about it, and then they hold that over you.
Yeah.
Well, I better do because I don't want people to know I put that
Hold
little
your
girl.
feet to the fire.
Well, they blackmail you with bad stuff that you know you did.
Like
almost
that
nobody else
Madison
knows.
Cawthorn.
Huh?
That Madison Cawthorn, the guy that's in the wheelchair from North Carolina.
Okay.
He was actually is up for election this year, but the establishment
Didn't like him
is pulling out the dirt that he had in his past.
'Cause he won't play games with
because he told on some things on them, so they're ruining him.
Yeah. And the only person, not the only person, but one of the people that could do it would be somebody like a Trump. Trump has tons of dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Tons of dirty laundry.
yeah.
But he's rich enough he doesn't have to worry about, if you're a junior senator and you don't have any money built up, and they can ruin you really easy,
Yeah.
okay, they could ruin Trump and he's still a billionaire.
Yeah,
He doesn't, what do I
exactly.
care,
Right.
So they didn't have that thumb on him. Okay, and that's why they didn't like him because they couldn't get it.
Yeah.
He had all this dirty laundry, but they couldn't get that thumb on him, and he just blew it off. Yeah, it kind of like Clinton was the Teflon president, Teflon Bill.
That's what gets me with the Democrats. They got all kinds of stuff on them, but
Yeah.
they won't even say nothing about it.
No, because the
And
media
stick
is
then,
behind
and then
them.
you ask the
And they
actual
stick together.
liberals out there, well, what about, that didn't really happen.
You know,
Yeah.
So can we move on and talk about
Yes.
some of the places that you are interested in seeing, driving to, or across the country when you finally get to
I
retire?
want to go anywhere I can't take a truck. I'm driving down the road. I'm in Colorado, Utah, Washington State, Oregon, Montana, wherever. I'm driving along, and I see this little dirt road that goes up on top of a mountain up there. And I can't do that in my semi.
No.
But if I'm in my RV, I pull over, get out, get the Jeep, drive up the top of the hill, and look up there. There ain't nothing up here, but at least I know now.
Been there, done it,
But
check.
we love to go up there,
Yeah.
just to go. I can remember as a kid, I had a bicycle, rode everywhere, out in the country, farm kid. Grew up out in the country, and I had this 10-speed bike, and I rode that thing all over the county, it seemed. But there was just about a half mile from our house was a creek, and it was wet all year long. There was water flowed in it all year long, so it was it wasn't a dry creek. It was always had water in it. Always had, you can see tadpoles, not tadpoles, minnows and stuff in it all the time. Didn't have any big fish because it's too small for that. But I'd ride the bike down there, park it off in the ditch in the weeds where nobody could see it, and I'd get down there and I'd walk down that creek. And some days I could go so far, and then there's a big water hole, and I couldn't get past it. I'd wait a week later, that water would be lower, and I could get around it, and I could explore just a little bit farther. Always wanting to see what's around that next bend, and I've always had that in me. And I guess maybe that's why I'm a truck driver, because trucking, you're always looking around
Wanderlust.
I've seen what's around that corner on every interstate in the country. Okay, I've been everywhere on the interstates. Okay, I've been on lots and lots of 2 lanes, but there are a lot of places I have never been, ever, in a truck. Okay, well, I would like to go find those places. And, I want to be out west. if I ever come to the East Coast, it'll be because I want to go to DC and see all the history, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, the Lincoln Monument, Washington Monument, that type of stuff, but you can't do that in a truck, because they block their exit for you. If you try to take a truck downtown.
And the Northeast is notorious with the small bridges.
It's low bridges, because it was built years before trucking.
Exactly.
There were lots. Chicago was all built before there were large trucks, and everything's designed around much smaller equipment. So there are lots of low bridges and stuff.
Being from the Northeast, I can say there's really a lot of beautiful places up there to see.
I'd like to go hang out in Vermont for the better part of the summer. Vermont, New Hampshire, up in that area, it'd be beautiful to go up there and just check out all the little small towns and whatever. The thing is, in the truck, you can't. Look at that beautiful. I can't. There's no shoulder. There's no place to park anything. Okay, but in a van, I go, oh, that is pretty neat. Well, there's no place but go to the next turn or the next town, turn around and go back and pull up in the parking lot and check the thing out. But in a semi, you can't. And another thing is schedule. You got to keep going. You can't stop and go do stuff.
You got places to do it certain times.
Right. Like, I'd like to sit here for another 5 hours talking to y'all, but I got to get on down to Melbourne tonight. And I got to be there because this thing tells me I only got 2.5 hours left. I got 2 hours to drive, and I got about 2.5 hours left in my logbook. So we need to wrap this up in about 15 minutes. So,
we've got that. Okay, camping. You have mostly done boondocking style camping from your previous videos. Are you interested in doing that more, or do you think when you're retired you'll go to campgrounds?
No. Campgrounds, yes. RV parks, no. I don't want anything to do with RV parks. One, they're really expensive now. Okay.
Crazy.
But my mom and dad did it in around 2000 to 2004 or 5, somewhere along in there. They did it for several years. That snowbird, traveling with the weather, sold everything, sold the house. All they owned was a pickup and a fifth wheel. That's it. And money in the bank, And they traveled all over the country doing stuff. And I would run into them occasionally. For example, one day I was down I was in Kansas. I was out by Manhattan, Kansas, and they were staying at a reservoir, a lake. And I parked at the truck stop. They come pick me up and took me out to the lake and sit there overnight and slept, stayed with them overnight. And the next day brought me back. So I spent about 24 hours with them. Went out to this lake. It was all very dispersed campsites with electric and water, but no sewer hookups. Okay, and they'd pull and drive, and they just here's the road, and then road have this little half moon. You just pull off into there, and then down here would be a little half moon, and they pull off into there.
Right.
So they weren't side by side, like in an RV park. So they weren't side by side. That was pretty neat because you're sitting there, you pick out whichever one you want. We want, spot number 8. You go and pick it, and then you go back and do the paperwork, and that's one you want. And you looked out your window and you're looking at the lake. Yep. Okay, if you want, take a fishing rod, go down, go fishing. Okay, that's okay. And I mean, back then it was like $8 a night or something like that. Now it's like $20 a night or something. I can handle those. Okay, but that compared to where they were in Yuma. They were down in Yuma. The space shuttle we talked about earlier today, Challenger, blew up as it was leaving or going into orbit, and Discovery busted up on re-entry. Well, I was out there in Yuma with them when that came in. Okay, we were in Yuma, and I was sitting there in this RV park that year, whatever year that was, 6 or 8 or something like that, as that re-entry disaster. Anyway. It was parked like this, I mean, they had their RV, they had the awning now, and the awning was only about 6 feet from the next RV. Yeah. It was ridiculous. There was all these people crowded into this little bitty. You're in Arizona, for crying out loud.
With all that
huge space, and they're cramped in there like sardines.
Yeah.
It's just like, why would you want to do that? And pay a high dollar for it.
And it's ridiculous.
So I don't want anything to do with that. So
we like free dispersed camping, and a lot of it's equestrian camping.
Yeah.
No hookups.
Yeah.
But we can get water.
Yeah.
Hey, you can wash the dishes and flush the toilet in the camper. I'm happy.
Yep.
So that's what, from here back towards Bushnell's got for Sumter County. It's got to be one of the biggest RV parks.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just everything's where the snowbirds come
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
I mean, it's
And they
really
cram it. They come, and I don't blame them. I'd want to get out of Michigan in the winter too. So you come down to Florida and it's just cramped in here. I'm like, go to Arizona. You open, and you got all this free camping. Yeah, you just put a couple solar panels on the roof, and you got electricity, and you can live on your water. Just be frugal with it, and you can sit out there for a week for free. Why come to Florida and pay $300 a week to park your damn RV?
Yep.
If you're gonna do that, might as well get a hotel.
Exactly.
All right.
So I only have a couple more for you. Since this year, and you've branched out from doing your edited, beautiful videos and doing the lives, which are quite often very easy. You turn on and you go and you talk. People really love that.
The
Live videos
live streams? Okay.
where they can, and I think they feel they can interact with you
right.
more.
That's the big difference, yeah.
And do you want to
They
continue
can
that?
interact with each other a lot more than they interact with me.
And sometimes you look
it's
down
like-
and notice that, don't
Yeah.
you?
There's times I'm driving along and I can't think of anything to talk about, but I'll come up with something in 10 minutes. Drive along and I'll see something. But for 10 minutes I drive around dead and just you got the camera up the hood and you're just listening to the remote and I'm driving along. And I'll think of something shortly and I can sit there and watch it scroll. It's just going nuts. People are coming up with all kinds of Stan fell asleep. Just whatever.
What was that, a rapper? I heard
Yeah.
rapper.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as far as which one do I want to do?
Or both.
I like to do both of them. The thing is, and I'm no artist or nothing like that. The creative juices just flow out of me. I'm not like that. But I do enjoy taking these videos and putting them together and making an edited video with music behind it, and at the end with the scene changes and all that, and then come up with a 5-minute dialogue of me talking about, blah, 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 this is something about a trucker, blah, 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 or whatever, or there's a windmill over there, or whatever comes across for the day. And taking all that and putting it together, and after it's all together, I go, I created that. It's that, there's that satisfaction in putting something together. It's the same satisfaction as somebody that's good at guitars gets at writing a new song. Okay, somebody that's good at playing the piano can play a piano and go at the end, go ding ding ding. See, I did get it. Okay, there's that satisfaction in knowing you did something. It wasn't there and now it is. So that creation of something.
Yes.
But that takes time, and I'm kind of at a point where I like the creativeness of it, and you're like, man, I did a pretty good job on this. I like this, People don't like this. But I put a whole day of filming in, and then that evening or the next night or whatever, when I have time, 2, 3, 5, 10 hours of editing sometimes.
Wow.
On some of these videos, they took 10 hours to edit. A lot of that was because I'm sitting and watching TV. I'm going, okay, during the commercial, click, 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 oh, it's back to, But I can say there are some videos that take several hours to put together for a 10-minute video. And it's all done. It's all the editing and adding the captions and stuff like that to it. But when you get it all done, then it's got to render. It takes an hour to render, and then it's got to load onto YouTube another hour or whatever. So you've got the better part of a day wrapped up in a video, and only 3,000 people watch it. Okay, so 3,000 people watch that video. I'm going to make maybe $9. So I worked all day for a $9 video.
Yeah,
But if people want
think you
live
make a
stream-
lot of money.
Yeah, everybody thinks I'm making. No, I told you. Well, I told
Yeah.
people last year in 2010 or 2011. In 2011, I made $11,000 on all the videos. I made $11,000 for the year. Yeah, I'm getting rich off this. So, no, I make my money on trucking, and this is a hobby. The thing is, this is a hobby that pays me money versus a hobby that takes money away.
Right.
Okay, so that's one of the reasons I like doing it. It's a self-sustaining hobby. I don't have to put money into it. I make money from it, and I roll that into new cameras. But it's a hobby for me. Okay, and there are days during the convoy. There were days people were so stinking snarky. Of course, it's the troll people. You guys aren't, but the the good, wholesome viewers that watched all these years, they were fine. But the new people that came in that were, why so mean and evil and snarky? But there's days like, I don't need this shit. I don't need to do any of this crap. There was days it's just this little small thought, and you know, forget it. But you sit there, hey, never make another video again. Walk away. That's all. You know, because of the couple snarky ass idiots. And you just kind of like, you know, it's not worth it putting yourself through this. You know, it'd be worth putting it through if you had, you know, made 6 figures. But you make, you know, $10,000 a year. It's just not worth, you know. I mean, I wouldn't even buy you a good Harley. You have to work for 2.5 years just to buy a good Harley. Yeah.
So, people do just get on there.
But yeah, and the thing is, the people that get on there and are snarky, they couldn't spell video, let alone make one.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's just
So, but yeah, so with the edited videos, there's that creation in it that I kind of enjoy, but also there's the monetary part of it too. If I'm going to spend all day long, I want to make $9, or I can do a live stream that people seem to like.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't quite understand it myself, why people want that, but I didn't understand why people want to watch a truck driver drive a damn truck down the road. And they, you know, 57,000 subscribers, just me driving down the road talking blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then the Convoy shot up to 120 something, 127 or whatever. So there's, when I first made my very first video, I made it for my mom, and it was like, I made it, I figured my mom's going to watch it. Okay, thank you, that's good, thank you. Okay, I made a couple, 3 videos, and I thought that would be the end of it, you know. And next thing you know, I've got 18 subscribers. Of course, they were all family and friends, I learned later. But then eventually there was 200. Who's watching this stuff? It's just an old driver driving down the road talking. And they were terrible videos. The first ones were terrible. Go back and watch Sasnak #1.
I have.
Bad. It's bad. So, but I'll purposely leave it up so people can go back and, oh my God, he has improved.
It's an evolution.
Yeah,
definitely.
And then there's these plateaus where you get pretty good at doing something. You kind of get into that rhythm of making that same kind of video, and then somewhere down the line, I get to watch another video of somebody else's explaining how to use the software better, or different camera angles, or different camera, just way you make, you know, film stuff. And because you filmed it a certain way, now you can edit it a certain way, and it steps it up a little bit. Okay, and then another little thing, it steps it up a little bit. But it seems like you make that step, and then you make those same videos for 6 months, and then you step it up, and now you make these videos with these other changes. So it's a gradual step up as far as your quality of videos. And I don't ever kid myself into thinking I'm Spielberg, because I'm not. And I sit there and edit, and I'll agonize, why can't I get this to line up just right with the sound, the beat of the music, right when it changes, and you get frustrated. And I finally, it's just a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Good enough. So there's a certain point there, but yeah, if people want the live streams, I'm fine, because it's easier for me to make. I don't have to upload anything. As soon as it's done, it just automatically uploads, and I actually get more views on them. So it's a plus for me all the way around. It's easier, and I make more money. Not a lot, but a few more bucks. Instead of working all day to make a video and make $9, I work for 1 hour and make $20.
And those you can save for when you go to a really pretty place or something unique.
Yeah.
Those edited videos.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is, when I have more time, you know, like right now I'm driving a truck, and if you guys are wanting to watch the live streams, it's easier on me, great. But once I get out of the truck and get into RV or camping or whatever, I'll be sitting around with a lot of time to kill. I might as well edit a pretty video, do some sunrise, sunset, you know, some of the prettier videos that I like. They take a long time because they're time lapse. Right? Just the first 10 seconds of a video, but it's a 3-hour time lapse of clouds going by. You know, and you know, the clouds are going by, and the sun's coming up as the clouds go, you know, move by or whatever. That took 3 hours to shoot. on a time lapse for 10 seconds worth of video. On a, you know, so it takes time. You know, and it's, like I said, the people that criticize this stuff, they couldn't spell time lapse. If you spotted the time, the apps.
Right.
All they had to put is an L in there, and they still couldn't spell it. You know?
So I only have just a little bit here.
Yeah.
How do you think Pamela feels about
Who?
Traveling
Who?
and
I don't
camping
know who
once
you're
you
talking
are
about.
both
I don't know
retired?
who you're talking about. What does she think about camping? I don't know. We talked about it here and there, and that's still an ongoing discussion. Yeah. Don't really know, because I've already got a camper van,
Of course.
but it's not big enough for 2 people. So she wants to go. I've offered to build her a camper van. No, I want to travel with you. No, you're right in front of me or behind me or whatever. You know, we talk on the radio or, you know.
She wants you to drive.
She wants me to drive and her to sit over there, and I guess she thinks we're going to be driving 180,000 miles a year. Well, that would, but at most maybe about 5,000 a year, just making the loop, and then we don't travel that much in the vehicle. You travel in the car going around checking things out, you know. So if you have an RV and you pull in a Jeep behind it or something, the RV will only do maybe 5,000 miles a year going up, you know, from Texas out to Arizona and work your way up into Montana and then back to Texas at the end of the year. A whole year to make that 5,000 mile loop. You're not driving that much time-wise. I mean, I can do a 5,000 miles in a week and a half.
Right.
Okay, stretch out that over a month or a year. It's not that much time behind the wheel. Okay, and so if we tow it, that's fine. You can ride in the passenger seat. But if I was to make another van, I told her, says, you buy my van, I'll build another van that's a little bit bigger with a full shower in it. That way we both have a good shower and a better kitchen and the whole 9 yards. But we both have separate vehicles. So if I want to go 8 months out of the year, but you only want to go 4 months out of the year and then go back home to see the grandkids, there's that flexibility there, you know. So I don't know. I mentioned that to her. I don't want to do that, you know. I says, okay, well, let me build a school bus. Nope. She will absolutely she locks her heels in on no, because she looks at a school bus as that's a hippie mobile. You know?
Yeah.
That's the Partridge Family, you know. So
Maybe
like,
she can watch some videos of some really well-done ones.
yeah. So there's the negotiations are still ongoing right now as far as that goes. Who knows what'll happen?
Well, I'm going to let you go.
Yeah, I'm got to go.
And I want to thank you
Okay.
for your time, and it's been an honor getting to be your moderator and especially meeting you in person this time.
Thank you. So,
Thank you
but
very much.
You got your little wooden flag the guy gave me in Des Moines. I've been handing them out to just special people. So
Woo, I'm
these are
special.
special people.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, y'all be good. Take care.